There's literally zero, and I'm saying this to certain Congress people in the state, zero evidence of machines flipping votes. And that claim was a lie through 2020, and it's a lie now.
As Georgia election official Gabe Sterling today calling out lawmakers in his state spreading election lies. Mr. Sterling joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us. And you noted there, it's elected leaders. You didn't name her, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the more infamous examples spreading these lies about voting machines in your state. Tell us what they're saying and what is actually true.
Well, there's been several claims that there are reports of machines flipping votes. And that's really just not the case. The reality is, especially in this one case we heard from Whitfield County, Georgia, there was a senior citizen voter who printed her ballot and said, oh, this isn't who I chose. And they followed the procedure. They went to the poll manager. They said, let's go over here and we'll spoil this ballot. We'll let you vote again. She was able to do it. A poll watcher came to her and said, were you satisfied with this outcome? And she said, yes, absolutely. She told a couple people that story. It turned into a post. And then it was picked up by other people and said, machines are flipping votes, which is nobody claimed that actually happened.
A comment from Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger Sunday got a lot of pickup in Republican circles. I want to play that.
All early votes and all early accepted ballots, they all will have to have their results reported by 8 p.m. That's 70, maybe even 75% of all the vote totals will be reported no later than 8 p.m. on election night.
Won't take 7 days to tabulate votes, as he said?
Absolutely not. What we will be waiting for is the overseas ballots that come in no later than Friday, and so those will then be the final numbers. And we'll just see if that makes the difference in the total vote totals.
So Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah is one of the elected officials not exactly helping your cause. He shared a post that inaccurately claimed that Raffensperger said that the results would not be ready for 3 days. That's not what he said. This is someone he's been reelected twice, Mr. Raffensperger. He knows how the process works.
Well, Senator Lee is just spreading misinformation, disinformation. I can't say it any other way. I don't know if he doesn't understand the situation or not. The question that was asked is, when will results be out there? And the Secretary was absolutely correct. By 8 p.m. or 1 hour after polls close, early votes and absentee votes have been processed, which would be probably 70–75% of our votes if our record turnout keeps on going, will be up on the election night reporting system by 8 o'clock. Then through the rest of the evening, by midnight, we will know absolutely how many people have voted on Election Day. It was also true that federal law says we protect our military and overseas voters. If their ballots are postmarked by Tuesday, Election Day, they are accepted through Friday of that week. That is the law. And to try to say that we're extending the time is simply a lie. And it's undermining people's faith yet again. I think it was really irresponsible for Senator Lee to do that.
CNN's Sean Lingus has some stunning reporting about Microsoft, which says hackers allied with the governor of Iran have researched election-related websites in multiple U.S. swing states. So far, no actual hacks, but they have been poking around, these hackers. Do you know if this is happening in Georgia? What safeguards do you have to combat any kind of nefarious cyber attack?
I'm not familiar with any specific instances of Iranians doing anything like that, but we have multiple layers of security around several systems. And there's a misunderstanding that is one of the reasons disinformation can take root so easily is people think, oh, hackers are doing something to the voting system. The only thing that's ever online is the voter registration system. Several layers of security around that. The actual voting machines themselves, all across the country, are not on the internet. They aren't really hackable at distance, and people have never understood that, but that lack of understanding has been exploited by those who want to undermine people's confidence in our systems.
Gabe Sterling, thank you so much, and thank you for what you do, sir. We really appreciate it.
Microsoft reports Iranian government hackers are targeting election-related websites in multiple swing states. A U.S. official tells CNN a federal investigation is underway. In Georgia, election officials successfully fended off a cyber attack this month. They suspect a foreign country was trying to knock the state's absentee ballot website offline. Despite the attempt, officials assure the state's machines are safe now and in the past.
There's literally zero, and I'm saying this to certain Congress people in the state, zero evidence of machines flipping votes. And that claim was a lie through 2020, and it's a lie now.
Let's bring in CNN senior national security analyst Juliette Kayyem. Juliette, good morning. Always good to see you. Georgia is interesting because these officials who are trying to assure voters that the systems are safe are Republicans. And of course, there are other people who are aligned with Trump who have been raising some questions about this. But let's talk about what we know about this attack, the fact that this was fended off. Are you confident the systems are secure? And this is obviously state by state, right? It's hard to really know. So are there weak spots that we need to be worried about?
There are inevitably going to be weak spots just because of the sort of distributed nature of how we run elections. You have states, you have counties, you have, all sorts of subdivisions. So the bad news is that creates vulnerabilities that we're clearly seeing enemy states try to take advantage of. And I want to say, Microsoft coming on this strong about what's happening is really important, because then it sort of triggers lots of people to make sure that, that either the Russians, Iranians, or the Chinese, that they are protected. The good news on this front, at least, is that it is hard to bring the whole system down. In fact, it would be impossible, our election system. There's not what we call a single point of failure. So it's the very fact that there's all these different factions that actually makes people more confident in our system. But finally, that doesn't go to the perception that, pushed by various, political operatives, including Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, in terms of, was the election secure? That's really not a cybersecurity issue. That's a disinformation issue.
Yeah. So let's hear a little bit more from Gabe Sterling in how he talks about the multiple layers of security around their system. Let's watch.
But we have multiple layers of security around several systems. And there's a misunderstanding that is one of the reasons disinformation can take root so easily, is people think, oh, hackers are doing something to the voting system. The only thing that's ever online is the voter registration system. Several layers of security around that. The actual voting machines themselves, all across the country, are not on the internet. They aren't really hackable at distance, and people have never understood that, but that lack of understanding has been exploited by those who want to undermine people's confidence in our systems.
So again, this seems like a key point also. The voting machines obviously became a huge issue in the 2020, or rather I should just say, they didn't become a huge issue. Republicans in many states made them an issue. Obviously there was the question about Dominion, voting systems, et cetera. He's careful to make this point that, look, these machines are not connected to the internet, and we do not have to worry about these things. No, right?
That's exactly right. So he was talking in sort of what we call sort of layered defenses. So even if there's sort of penetration sort of into, you can see the voter rolls, you'd have to be successful in so many different ways without being detected, which happened in this case, that it makes it difficult. The most important thing, though, is that as we learned in the Dominion lawsuit that Fox News had to pay a lot of money, is those systems are essentially offline. It's why it sort of takes a while for us to get the voting, that you want to take them off of the system because you just want to reduce the possibility that a nefarious actor would come in. Once again, though, this does not address the disinformation that is as likely as sort of a cybersecurity hack as we head into the next 2 weeks. Disinformation from both domestic sources and, of course, what we're seeing in foreign sources.
All right, Juliette Kayyem, very grateful to have you this morning. Thank you so much for that.